Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, The Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools has been the place to shop for your industrial needs for over 20 years. Carrying the tools you need to get the job done from the brands you can trust, Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools has you covered. Brands like Milwaukee Tool, established in 1924 and on display in our Milwaukee Red Zone, the largest red zone in Winnipeg. With construction workers and tradespeople in mind, Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools is your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs. So come on down to our Winnipeg store location today, located on 1557 King Edward Street in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And good afternoon, Manitoba female hockey league fans, Manitoba female U18 AAA hockey league fans, as I should say, into another edition of the MFHL Podcast, live here on this Friday afternoon, just after 4 o'clock for episode 17 in season 2. This edition of the MFHL Podcast is brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools, Terrico, and Goaltenders. We got a great show in store for you today. Two guests from around the MFHL are going to be joining the show, one player and a head coach. First, Interlake Lightning guest of the season going to be joining the show, and head coach Kelsey McHolm. But before we get into all of that, going to start off with showing you how Week 14 went in the MFHL schedule. Is a very light week of action, as many of the teams in the league were busy competing in the Female World Sports School Challenge, which we'll get into the results of that coming up later on in this edition of the podcast. But the Wheat Kings and Hawks played each other in what was a crucial back-to-back over the past weekend, which Brandon took care of business and winning the first game 2-1 in Morden, and then finishing off with a 2-0 win at home on the Saturday evening. As for how this week started, Westman and Central Plains playing that rescheduled game, which, a correction from last week, thought it was on Sunday, but it was in fact rescheduled for this past Tuesday, where Ivy Perkin had a signature 5-goal game. Unbelievable effort from her in that victory, a huge one for Westman as they gear up for a huge final weekend of action like the rest of the teams here in the MFHL. For the Winnipeg Ice, they continue to roll off of a great performance from last week. They've been getting better and better as the season goes along, as I've talked about, and yeah, nothing different 2 nights ago as they came away with an 8-0 victory in Portage over Central Plains. This is how these standings look. First place, second place, and third place have been locked up at this point. Yellowhead is very likely going to finish in 4th. What's going to be interesting is that fight for 5th place. Pembina Valley has a good shot still But Brandon, of course, with a big advantage after this past weekend. Westman, if they're able to get hot and win 3 in a row, continue the good vibes from Tuesday, who knows? Maybe they could rise up in the standings, but they need some help with Brandon and Pembina Valley to lose this weekend coming up. As for the players of the week for Week 14, congratulations to Paige Crossley and Danica Averill, who ended up being named offensive and defensive players of the week. Averill was rock solid, as she usually is. Only 1 goal allowed on 84 shots against. And for the Wheat Kings captain, continues to be clutch here for them as she's able to score both goals in the first game, the 2-1 win that set up Brandon well heading into that Saturday 2-0 victory. Congratulations to Brandon, who they've, like we kind of predicted here, have gotten better and better as this season has gone along. As for news of life after the MFHL, as for Reese Schutte, she still has 1 year remaining in the MFHL next season, as she is a 2008 born forward. 2007s are aging out this season, but she's already made her commitment to Union College to play Garnet Chargers hockey in 2026, 2027, I guess. That's crazy to say that as this decade continues to roll along, but as the MFHL starts to roll along here, I'm going to be joined by Reese Schutte next, as she's the first guest on this edition of the show. So we're going to talk about her commitment to Union College. Thought that Reese was in her second year with Westman, but she started back with this team when she was in grade 9. So this is her third year with Westman. I had a chance to ask her about what her journey has been like with this squad this season, the ups and the downs, and what's to come this weekend to finish things off here in the MFHL's final weekend of regular season action in 2024-2025 before we hit the playoffs, everybody. Reese Schutte coming up next year. Number 7 and third year forward for the Westman Wildcats. And it's one of the top leading point getters in the MFHL, one of the best players on the Westman Wildcats running this edition of the MFHL podcast, and Reese Schutte. Reese, it's been quite a successful year for you individually on the score sheet, and the success continued for you off the ice, I guess, in terms of leading to on the ice next season. But committing to Union College to play hockey there in NCAA Division One competition. Take me through what it went or what it meant for you to sign that commitment at this point in your MFHL career.
It's always been my dream to play NCAA Division One. So it was a pretty exciting moment for me. They offered me a full scholarship, so hearing those words come out of the coach's mouth was a really big shock to me. I was just full of pure joy. My dad even gave the coach a big hug. But yeah, it felt like such a huge accomplishment, and the Union coaches were awesome, and I loved the college immediately. So it's a perfect fit for me, and yeah, I was just super happy about it.
Yeah, and of course, for yourself being a 2008 born player, you're still going to have actually another season of competition left to play in this league with the Westman Wildcats. But I mean, being able to get this done with one more year left in your U18 AAA playing days, how huge do you feel like this is for yourself to have a sense of relief at this point, knowing that the future is set in stone for at this point?
Yeah, I kind of felt like had a weight off my shoulders after kind of announcing that, which is pretty awesome. So now I can just focus on my development to before I get to Union. So yeah, just keep on working hard and doing the best I can to get better every day, and then hopefully I'll be even better when I get there. So yeah.
Well, you've taken a huge step this season. You were pretty impactful last year as a rookie from the games that I was able to watch in the playoffs, a good forechecker. And this season, you've been able to showcase your skills at an even higher level, 58 points and 46 total games played. Take us through, I guess, the viewers and myself right now in terms of how you've been able to take that next step in your second year here with Westman.
Yeah, this is actually my third year. I played my first year as a grade 9 on Westman. Wasn't able to make that big of an impact that year. It's a bit more difficult. But yeah, this year and last year I've gotten lucky to play with Ivy Perkin. As you know, we've kind of found a click, and I got a lot of thank to her for my success this season. We're always know where each other is, and we're always able to make good plays. So it also comes with hard work from myself and from her. We're both pretty strong players, so I think also we're quite a bit different players. So with that, it helps a lot. So that's definitely been a big part of my success this season. Also having Lucy Waldner on our line. She's also a great, smart player. So yeah, I just thank my line mates all the time because they're a huge part of that. But yeah, literally just working as hard as I can every game is, I think, what is getting me all the success this season. So yeah.
Yeah, and impressive that you started back in this league as a grade nine. Obviously, like you were on the really young side of things back then, but you've been able to gather more experience as the past few seasons have gone along. Looking back at that grade nine year, how would you say that getting your first taste of MFHL hockey back then has helped you at this point in your MFHL career with Westman now in year three?
Yeah, definitely jumping into the league as a grade nine was a big shock to me. You had to really push to get up in the lineup and get used to the level of competition. And definitely the physicality is a lot different. So I think that's definitely helped me today to continue to work hard because there's also ups and downs in my rookie year. I wasn't playing much, and that was something I wasn't used to as you go from being one of the best players in U15 to being like fourth line on as a rookie and not getting many minutes. So, you really have to work your way up that lineup. And, I was able to do that. So, I think having that perseverance definitely is what helped me today. So, yeah.
Yeah, and of course, this Westman Wildcats team looking to persevere and go on a magical playoff run here coming up as we're getting into the last weekend of regular season hockey here. But before we get into the overall team, want to speak about your relationship with Ivy Perkin, as you mentioned. You two very well connected on the ice. A lot of good chemistry built up there. Feel like it's probably good that you two are a bit different players, knowing that you've been able to gel so well with your two playing styles. I guess talk about since she's been here last year, you getting to play on the line with her this year. What it's been like getting to work with her together out on the ice, going more into depth on that.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think a big part of it is because we're really good friends off the ice. We've known each other since we were little. We did camps together all the time. So, yeah, that's a big part of it. We're really good friends. So I think that kind of shows on the ice a bit. Yeah, it's awesome. Practices are always fun. We're always laughing. So I think just having fun all the time is definitely what helps us find that kind of connection. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's definitely led to great results for you both on the ice this year. From watching Ivy, she's a flashy player with the puck, very skilled. You talk about yourself as a bit of a different player. Let the viewers at home know what type of player they can expect to watch when Reese Schutte is on the ice playing.
I think I'm a fairly big player, so I'm able to protect the puck well. I'll be strong in corners. I'm fast. That's definitely something. Lots of people have told me I have a really good skating ability. I've got told by coaches I have a good shot. So, yeah, me and Abby work well together because she's super smart, really good, has really good hands, also has really speedy as well. So, we're able to find each other. I'm able to finish all my shots most of the time, and so is she. So, I think also having that physicality, I'm able to get the puck out of those corners, find Ivy. Yeah, so it's definitely lots of speed, lots of strength, and yeah, good scoring ability.
Yeah, and we've seen that. I believe we've covered one or two Westman games so far this year, and I've definitely seen that on display from both you and Ivy, those different skill sets. But for this Westman team this season, started off really well through the first month and then took a nosedive after that. This team went on quite a long losing streak in terms of MFHL regular season play, but have been doing a bit more winning as of late, made it all the way to the semifinals this past weekend, having a good showing at the Female World Sports School Challenge. But As you've been able to be a part of two teams in the past two seasons that have been among the top of the standings and have made it to back-to-back finals appearances, take me through what it's been like dealing with this year that's truly been different compared to the rest.
Yeah, it's definitely different. I think a big part of that is because most of our team is rookies. We only have about five returning players. Two of our graduating players are even rookies. So everyone's kind of getting used to being in a new league, having new competition. And us older players or returning players, I should say, are really trying to, be a good influence on them, kind of lead by example on the ice and off the ice. Yeah, we've had ups and downs this season, as you said. Yeah, I think it really just comes with hard work for us. We have quite a bit of talent on our team, but hard work always beats talent. So some days we're not playing a full 60-minute game, and those breakdowns kind of get on us sometimes. So I think definitely coming into playoffs, we have to make a full 60 game and make sure we're always working as hard as we can. Because yeah, with hard work, we'll usually have success. So yeah.
No, for sure. And it's a big part of winning in amateur hockey, especially nowadays, given all the emotions that go into the game, is whichever team shows up ready to work and is willing to put in that work will probably have a lot of success. But how huge was it for this team knowing that it's been a lot of downs this season, but to be able to do some more winning more as of lately, I know a huge win yesterday for this team against Central Plains in a rescheduled game, just coming off of a Final Four appearance and finishing fourth in the Female World Sports School Challenge, which was filled with a lot of great teams, especially from this Manitoba Female U18 AAA Hockey League. But how huge these past few weeks have truly been for Westman, this young Wildcats team so far.
Yeah, it's been really important for us, especially going to playoffs. We know that we have to win some games to kind of stay in a good spot coming into playoffs. Having the Winnipeg tournament definitely helps a lot. We get to see some new teams, some new competition, and just kind of see the different levels of play and like what that could look like. So yeah, I think it definitely helped us to kind of a break from league. We were able to kind of get back into our role of things like we had in the start of the year. So yeah, these past couple weeks have been good. We've been winning a bit more, so that's good. Hopefully, we can stay on that train coming into this weekend. But yeah, the last few weeks have been very important for us.
Yeah, and going up against the Brandon Wheat Kings tomorrow to start off this team's weekend of action. Started the week already yesterday, or 2 days ago now, with the 7-1 win over Central Plains. Given that, there's been a rivalry, I'm sure, growing with Brandon, given that these two teams are so close to each other geographically, and knowing that's the start of three games, three final games of this regular season for this Westman squad. How is this team, I guess, approaching the final weekend of the regular season coming up?
Yeah, we know it's a really important weekend for us. We're hopefully going to come out of it with 3 wins. We know we can compete with every team in this league, and we're coming into it with a winning mindset. And yeah, we're just really trying to play the full 60-minute. We're 1-2 with Brandon right now, so hopefully we can tie up that little series with them. Danica Avril is a great goalie, and they have some great players on that team, so it's definitely going to be tough, but we'll be in our home barn, so yeah, hopefully we can get the W out of that one.
I'll finish off with this question for you, but of course, with Brandon coming into the league, it changed how some of these teams were constructed in terms of certain players not coming back and going over to Brandon. Danica Averill being one of those players. There's, of course, a few more that are on Brandon that you've, of course, played with before, notably last year. What's that been like getting to play against competition, specifically in this league that you were once teammates with, now opponents against?
Yeah, it definitely took some adapting to. Our first game we played against Brandon in Portage felt really weird. I wasn't myself that game. I wasn't playing like the player I usually did because I was going off for face off against one of my best friends, Paige Crossley. So, yeah, it was definitely different. We'd be laughing at each other on the face off dot. So, yeah, it felt really weird, but now I kind of see it as just playing another team. I kind of think we're not friends on the ice. So, I've got that into my head now. So, but yeah, it's definitely been different. And, I miss playing with those girls, of course. But, it's just how things work out. But yeah, definitely different, but I've adapted to it. So, yeah.
Well, there you go. That's great to hear. And yeah, love the mindset, even though you may be good friends. Got to treat him as your opponent on the ice, right? Or as you said, the enemy. But yeah, getting a chance to reunite and play against each other once again coming up tomorrow, the night of when this podcast airs, as Reese Schutte looking to be a big part of Westman's success as she has been all season long again this weekend. Best of luck to you and the rest of the team, Reese, this upcoming weekend. And can't wait to see what this team is going to be able to do in the playoffs coming up this year.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
And Reese Schutte joining this edition of the MFHL Podcast on D-Show Productions on dshow.ca. Her Wildcats in action 3 days in a row with 3 games remaining in the regular season schedule, with some big ones, playing a team that's ahead of them in the standings, and the Brandon Wheat Kings coming up tonight at home. Is that rivalry's been building and building as the season's been going along. I mean, given the geography of both of where these teams end up landing on the map. In Manitoba, Westman going to be at home again tomorrow to take on the Winnipeg Ice, and then ending off their regular season in Portage to take on the Central Plains Capitals in a rematch from earlier this week on Tuesday in that big win by Westman. Congratulations once again to Reese Schutte, the first guest in this episode, on committing to Union College to play NCAA Division I hockey. In 2026-2027 is when her collegiate career will be starting, as she's still got 1 year left in this league, being a 2008 born player after this one. As for a player that's going to be going to the university scene right away after this season, it's going to be Avery Shortridge, grade 12 defenseman of the Winnipeg Avros, committing to York University to play U Sports, so in the best of the best university hockey in Canada. Congratulations to Avery, who's been a staple on the Winnipeg Avros defensive core, not only this season, but ever since she's really gotten into this league, has been really steady on the back end, and York going to be getting a good one, as there's been players before, most notably Courtney Bays, who came from the Avros program that went on to play for York University. So congratulations to Avery on this massive achievement, as she looks to finish off her season with the Avros strong here before making her way over to York. As for how the point leaders line up in the MFHL, the stats leaders here brought to you by Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools. Rio Pierre atop of the point leaderboards, but Ivy Perkin with that big 5-goal performance, jumping up all the way to second in the point leaderboards. Izzy Mann now third place, tied with Adeline Nolgren for that spot. Reese Schutte ends up in fifth in the point leaderboards with 2 assists in that victory against Central Plains to start off this weekend. Isabelle Labossiere continues to remain in first places for win leaders. As mentioned, there were only 2 teams who played each other twice this past weekend, so not much changed here in the goaltending leaderboards. As for the goals and assist leaders, Ivy Perkin jumps all the way up to second place, as the ones below her end up just shifting down just a bit down those leaderboards. The assist leaderboards end up remaining the same, except that Reese Schutte and Izzy Mann are both now tied for fourth in assists with 25 each. The MFHL stats leaderboards brought to you by Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools, your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs. As for how the final weekend of action is set to look in the MFHL for 2024-2025 before we get set for playoffs, triple header tonight. G-Show Productions will be on air for Winnipeg Avros and Eastman Selects. Puck drops at 8 p.m. Central Time tonight, as we'll show you this. This is our game graphic. It's the battle for first place tonight, as both of these teams have locked up the top 2 seeds. It's just a question of who ends up being first and who ends up being second place. Well, that will most likely be decided tonight with the puck dropping at 8 p.m. Central Time, as mentioned, in Niverville, Manitoba. Pre-game show going to get going a bit before then to get you set for that one. But as for Saturday, tomorrow, there's going to be 4 games in action, all evening games, as G-Show Productions will have Arrows and Chiefs on our second edition of MFHL Game Day this weekend. And then on Sunday, shout out to the league for not scheduling any games in the evening since it is Super Bowl Sunday, but we're still going to be busy on this day, as we'll be in Niverville for their regular season finale, taking on the Yellowhead Chiefs. Puck drops at 2:30 p.m. on gshow.ca, or in Niverville, Manitoba, if you decide to go and check out the game there. And as for Saturday night, it's a big one for all 9 of the seniors that are going to be graduating out of Interlake's program this year. The Lightning taking on the Pembina Valley Hawks tomorrow night at 8 p.m. at the Stonewall Veterans Memorial Complex, where they'll be putting on a tribute celebrating their senior class of 2025. Shout out to all 9 of those players, those seniors that are going to be having a very special night in Stonewall tomorrow night. Speaking of Stonewall, the team that plays in that town in Manitoba, the Interlake Lightning, the U18 female Bolts. Their head coach, Kelsey McHolm, is going to be joining the show next year to talk about her first season behind the bench, the history of what led up to her getting the job with Interlake, a bit of her history before in coaching, as well as her playing at a high level of university hockey. We also get into the recent play for Interlake, the ups and downs this season for them, and this upcoming weekend of action, as well as the play-in series that they'll be playing in against the Central Plains Capitals to decide who's that team that's going to be advancing in the 8th versus 9th place series. That's all coming up next on the MFHL podcast, but first we're going to hit it with a commercial break. Kelsey McHolm joining the show next, head coach of the Interlake Lightning, here on Episode 17, Season 2 of the MFHL podcast. More to come after this. Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, the Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. It's Kelsey McHolm, head coach of the Interlake Lightning, her first year behind the bench in this league in the MFHL. Kelsey's team coming off of a 1-3 finish at the Female World School Sport Challenge, or Female World Sport School Challenges, I should say. Currently going to be facing off against Central Plains shortly here in a play-in series in the 8 versus 9. But Kelsey, what's the journey been like this season, your first year behind the bench as Interlake's head coach?
It's been great. I mean, I have great assistant coaches that make going to the rink also a lot of fun and super enjoyable, and it makes it easy. And with the group of girls that I get to coach, our team has been a lot of fun this year. Obviously, we've had some ups and downs, but at the end of the day, I'm very grateful to be able to coach a great group of kids.
Yeah, and there's been some successes this year, of course. You ended up earning the first win as a head coach back early in 2024 in this 2024-2025 season against the Westman Wildcats. This team had early success in a tournament over in Alberta, and then, of course, have been able to get a few more wins along the way. But how have you felt this group has handled the ups and downs? Like you said, a fun group to coach still through this all.
Yeah, no, I think at the end of the day, they always come to the rink wanting to get better. And I think no matter what, the ups, the highs, the lows, whatever it is, like I said, they always want to get better and learn from those experiences. And that's something that we take into the dressing room all the time is, how can we learn from wins and losses to get better as a group. And um, like I've already said, I'm grateful to be able to coach kids that love to come to the rink and smile all the time, even when things might not go our way. And I think that makes things so much easier for a group to, you know, have a mind of a goldfish, get over it, move on, and then how can we be successful the next day?
Right, for sure. Having that short memory so huge, especially when a team's gone through so much adversity as this team has this season. But for yourself, before becoming Interlake's head coach, where were you at in your coaching career? Were you coaching? Tell us a bit about your backstory.
Yeah, I started on with the Hockey Canada pilot program that coached player mentor when I was playing at York University. So I was coaching in U22 in the WHL with North York Storm. So I was there for 2 seasons, and then I moved back home to Winnipeg. I was interim assistant coach with Balmoral Hall last year. Um, Again, great program, and was super grateful for that opportunity. And then this year kind of was just skills coaching originally with the Interlake region. So I skills coached with and four still do with the U13, U15 teams, and then was also skills coaching with U18. And then head coaching job kind of popped up, and I took it. Very, very happy that I did. And just overall, I mean, really enjoy being a part of the Interlake organization. I think they do a really good job developing this year from the ground up and being able to work with so many kids every week. It's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, from the sounds of it, it sounds like you have a history of being in a variety of places as a coach, being able to play at a high level in your university stage of your hockey career. How have you felt like all those experiences at this point have molded you as the head coach you are today?
I think, being able to be coached by really great people and also being able to be mentored in the coaching world by some really awesome people has made that journey really easy. Especially too, like being able to just look back and give that person that, you need to talk to that's coached me a call. I still do that with, my U18 head coach at the time. And I still do that with my university coach. Like I always know those types of people are kind of going to be in your life to support you, in a positive way. And I think being able to have that for so long, being a player, having like a supportive coach for, junior career, university, and then moving into coaching, having those same people that are so positive in your life to support your career, it makes it really easy to just want to be that for so many kids. And yeah, I think it's, again, something I'm super lucky to have is just people to lean back on and ask questions about and just get a second opinion on things. I think it helps me grow as a coach every day.
Yeah, and that's great to hear you've been able to have that great support system throughout your time in your life here, in your hockey life, as I should say. And yeah, I mean, huge going into a situation where, like you said, this organization kind of building from the ground up again, even though this team has quite a few veteran players, grade 12s that are going to age out this season. But last season, Interlake ended up probably having their best season in franchise history. This year, a bit different as this team is near the bottom of the standings. But what's that been like? Trying to challenge this team, I guess, night in and night out practice, every single time this team practices to try to get them to compete to the best to their level, even though things haven't gone as well as they would have hoped or you guys would have hoped on the scoreboard so far this year.
Yeah, I think there's probably been a handful of games where the score didn't show how hard we really worked in certain games, and we may have not gotten the overall outcome. But if I look at, success as a team, and the work that they've put in, they have been very successful because they've all gotten better at the end of the day. And I don't think it's something that I really have to try to motivate the group to come to practice and want to work. They just know that that's what they want to do and that's what they do every day. And that makes my job a lot easier when they come and ask questions and want to get better at a certain skill or opposed to feeling like I had to force them to want to do that. They want to do that on their own, and that's I think alone as a coach a super positive thing to take away from your team. And yeah, I mean, like I said, the scoreboards I don't think always reflect our playing as a group. Overall, might have not been the best record for the season for this team, but I think we made some really, really great steps as a group, as an organization, and moving forward to becoming the best versions of ourselves.
Right, and I think that historically in this league, no matter what the record is for the Interlake Lightning, they always give the top teams in the league a battle and always compete with them. How much pride do you take in this group this year, knowing that that tradition has continued? As we've seen it at times, this team has been able to push some of the top teams in the league. Not always, but sometimes this season to the brink.
Yeah, no, I take great pride in that. I think, to be able to coach a team that's super hardworking, and I think it's one of the best compliments to get given is that your team is so hardworking. I never have to be upset about that. They come to the rink every single day. They work as hard as they possibly can, and like I said, that sometimes doesn't reflect on the scoreboard for us, but like you said, we keep some people on their toes, some teams on their toes sometimes, and that solely comes from our work ethic and our grit for our team. We take a lot of pride in just working hard till the third period and buzzer.
Sometimes in sports, no matter what coaches may say about a team that may be at the top going up against a team near the bottom of the standings, to not take them lightly. But sometimes the psychology in sports plays into the advantage of the underdog in that way, where this team's able to give a team a run for their money. Does this team take a lot of pride as well in knowing that maybe some teams will write them off before even playing them, and this could give you guys your greatest advantage as well?
Yeah, I would say a little bit. I think, as a group, when we go into games, we don't really as much talk about the opponent. We talk about us as a group. And I think that's kind of the thought process we have every single game is, not being worried about who we're playing, but being able to stick to the style of play that we know that we can play. And if we can play that way, we can play and compete against anybody. So I wouldn't say too much. That's kind of a thought. I guess, like I said, we just kind of focus on our group in our room.
Right, and only one game left in the season, of course, before playing series against Central Plains. Pembina Valley, a team that's improved as the season's gone along. Gonna have them in your home barn coming up on Saturday night. Sure, the excitement is at a high level, knowing that the last game of the regular season is at home, knowing that it's a bunch of seniors' last games in a regular season Interlake Lightning jersey.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's our graduation night, which on Saturday, which I think is a little bit bittersweet as we graduate 9 players, and I think it's as of 5 of them has played over 135 games as a Bolt. One has played over 175. I think alone that's like something that our organization is really proud of, and I think it's going to be a very special night, and hopefully we can end that grad night off with a win going into playoffs.
Yeah, and to prepare for the upcoming best 2 out of 3 series against the Central Plains Capitals as well. Going to be a great night on Saturday, of course, for all 9 of those seniors to experience their final regular season game at home in a Lightning jersey. But yeah, going up against Central Plains, I mean, still a chance for this team to be able to make the playoffs. Winner of this series would, of course, face off against the first seeds. So, yeah, I guess the mentality heading in, like you said, this team very much about themselves, their own business in that room. Your thoughts, I guess, heading into that upcoming series, given this group style and the, belief that they may have.
Yeah, I mean, coming off of the past weekend at the showcase, we played some really good hockey, and I'm hoping that that's going to continue moving into playoffs. And I think just the mentality's got to stay the same of like hard work, competing, being gritty in the corners. We gotta. I think it'll be an overall good series. Like I said, we just have to come into these games just focusing on us and focusing on us as a team. And I think if we can continue to do that, that we're going to have success over these next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and going to be a great experience for sure, no matter what happens for all members of this Interlake Lightning squad. Kelsey McHolm, her first season behind the bench for this Interlake Lightning squad. Looking forward to seeing how many more years she's going to be behind the bench as well. Thank you for taking the time, Kelsey, and joining me here on this edition of the MFHL podcast. Best of luck this weekend in the final upcoming game of the regular season in the last 2 out of 3 playing against Central Plains.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on today.
And Kelsey McHolm, head coach of the Interlake Lightning, joining this edition of the MFHL podcast. Her Lightning in action this weekend, coming up for one last game against the Pembina Valley Hawks. Speaking of the Pembina Valley Hawks, I'm going to be showing you all some highlights featuring them in just a moment here. But yeah, taking a look at, of course, that's grad night, but the upcoming weekend of action as, the Interlake Lightning in action for one last game tomorrow night against Pembina Valley. Pembina Valley in action twice this weekend as they only got 2 games left in their season. Tough one to end off against the Winnipeg Avros, but their games, their most recent one at least, pretty competitive, pretty tight as Pembina Valley took the Avros to overtime. That one, 1:30 p.m. on Super Bowl Sunday. So it's going to be 4 games to end off the MFHL's 2024-2025 regular season. We're going to get into the Female World Sports School Challenge results, which panned out very well for 3 teams in particular in the MFHL. Before we get into that, though, I'm going to be showing you highlights from a game that was featured in Week 13's action of the MFHL regular season, as it was the Pembina Valley Hawks playing host to the Yellowhead Chiefs. And man, were the Yellowhead Chiefs ever rolling in this one. We're going to show you the highlights of that coming up, and then more to come on this edition of the MFHL podcast next year on G Show Productions on gshow.ca. And good evening, Manitoba Female Hockey League fans, and to Morden, Manitoba for the Saturday night edition of Manitoba Female Hockey League Game Day on G Show Productions, your home for MFHL hockey here in the province of Manitoba. I'm your host and play-by-play commentator for tonight's action, and Graham the G Show Forsyth. We're brought to you by McCann Fasteners and Tools, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Terrico, and Goaltenders. Sending it back into the Chiefs zone as they work it up quickly. Pollock, her shot as she pulls up, scores! One that Cassie Rakowski has a lot of trouble on there. So it looked like that shot just dipped at the last moment. Icing waved off, though. Great effort from Pembina Valley as they get it up to the point. Onto Beatty's stick. Sends it to the net. Merckx didn't see that one, but made the save. It's Grace Kirk, team captain for this Yellowhead Chiefs team, sends this down low to Wolowski. So Wolowski tries to spin away from the incoming check-in of a Hawks player picked up by Hodson. Tries to wrap this around, picks up a rebound, scores! Great effort and determination there from number 11 in Hodson. Back to her again as she works that puck with Darby O'Brien. She fans on that pass, trying to get it back to a teammate, and now it's Veach who tries to make her pay. Veach gets this back, scores! What an effort, shorthanded, 3-0, the Chiefs lead. As Rock plays this off the boards to Brigg, and Brigg chips and goes. How's Duran heading to the net? Plays it to Duran, catches that puck somehow, but a better save made by Merckx. It's Yellowhead who remains up by a score of 3 in here. It's another offensive zone face-off draw won by the Hawks. Victor from the point. That shot can't get through as it was blocked up by the stick of a Chiefs player. Left it for Miko as she leads this charge on the rush. Drop to Despier-Lage. That tip shot scores! We've even seen it result in some goals with that puck not being cleared out that cleanly from the high-dangered scoring areas inside of the Hawks zone. Anderson with a nice strip, but a better save by Merckx. Pass gets up to Hildebrand, but a nice job by Miko to get in the lane, disrupting that backhand spin around by Veach, turned aside by Rakowski. Play to Rose Cochran now up the left side. Maxwell takes a hit to make a play up to Kirby Gray, looking to go on 1-0. Nifty move by Gray, turned aside by Rakowski in tight. As is routine for goaltenders here, backdoor feed almost slides past Rakowski, but able to
Hold it out from under. As for the Yellowhead Chiefs, they'll continue to pressure the front of the net here off the draw. Chief player hauled down by Steve. Steve's also went down to the ice. Low slot now. Rakowski turns her aside. I mean, the silver lining, if you get out of this, you probably build up a lot of good momentum for yourself. And look, for a Yellowhead Chiefs team that has had so many power play opportunities, sitting on a big lead here. Oh no, they extended this time as Cochran picks that corner up over the shoulder of Rakowski. As Perrin battles along the boards. Pembina Valley looking to get players off to change. This stripped away now by Desperate Lodge. That shot turned aside by the blocker of Rakowski. Along the boards, players can't dish it out right now. Trying to get it loose. It'll be Yellowhead who does. So up to the point to Kirk. Just able to get that cross-ice pass to Dean Cochran, who scores. It's Courtney Cochran who scores this time around to make this one a 6-0 game now. And as Gray looks to fire this out cross-site. Ice not effective initially, but that pass was to Woloski. Woloski pulls up, shoots, turned aside by Rakowski. As we're back to even strength just like that. Held in at the point, O'Brien kept in off of that redirect attempt out by Maxwell Cox. Her shot right again into the logo. Who looks to get it out. Stays into the Pembina Valley zone. Bat pass up the middle. Picked up by Gray. Nice move, but a nice save by Rakowski. There's a straw. One on the tie-up by the Pembina Valley Hawks. Skated out. Fed cross-ice to Duran. Has break heading to the net. Tries feeding it there by great defensive stick by Courtney. From this time, Brooklyn Cochran as Yellowhead works up the other way. 2-on-1 develop and Desperate Lodge to Veach. That shot turned aside. Veach so close from that hat-trick goal. For the Yellowhead Chiefs, coming all the way from Shoal Lake, Manitoba, down to Morden, Manitoba, to win this one here tonight by a score of 6-0.
Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools has been the place to shop for your industrial needs for over 20 years. Carrying the tools you need to get the job done from the brands you can trust, Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools has you covered. Brands like Milwaukee Tool, established in 1924 and on display in our Milwaukee Red Zone, the largest red zone in Winnipeg. With construction workers and tradespeople in mind, Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools is your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs. So come on down to our Winnipeg store location today, located on 1557 King Edward Street in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And welcome back to this edition of the MFHL Podcast on G-Show Productions on gshow.ca. We're nearing the end of this episode. Still plenty to talk about, though. We're nearing closer and closer into our coverage of tonight's matchup between the Winnipeg Avros and the Eastman Selects. This game going to be played in Niverville, Manitoba. Shout out to Ice Wave Media for providing these pictures. Check them out on social media, as we've also partnered with them to provide great coverage of this league. Using our services, combining them, they produce the best photos here in Manitoba. Of course, we do live streaming, podcasting, live broadcasts of games and stuff. So I think interchanging those and partnering together is a great thing that's going to happen for both brands, and really looking forward to our relationship moving forward, us and Ice Wave Media, of what we'll be able to do here in this league specifically, and all the rest of our coverage. As this game tonight, it's the battle of first place, and it's going to be a big one because in my opinion, first place matters quite a bit this season because when we take a look at the MFHL standings, for example, The Winnipeg Ice are going to be the third place team, and this team's been absolutely rolling. And if you're able to move on to the next round, if you're that second place team and able to take care of business, you most likely play against the Winnipeg Ice, who I'm not sure if they're that ready to give up their crown in the MFHL as defending champions for back-to-back years now. They haven't even lost a playoff game, and they've continued to get better and better as this season's gone along. They had a bit of a dip early on in the season in their results, in their schedule, but since really December, honestly, this team has been lights out in MFHL action. They haven't lost too many games. The ones that they have lost have been close ones, and most recently they competed along with 5 other teams in the MFHL, or I guess along with 4 other teams, as there are 5 teams in total in the MFHL that competed in the Female World Sports School Challenge. Last year the Winnipeg Avros ended up being finalists, losing to Rink Hockey Academy Winnipeg, and that's who the Winnipeg Ice ended up facing off against in the finals. As for Winnipeg, they made it all the way to the finals, only losing one matchup, and that came to RHA, losing 3-0 in round robin action, but they were able to bounce back with a victory over the Northern Capitals to put themselves into the semifinals, where they would face off against their crosstown rivals in the Winnipeg Avros. And in what was a game like we've seen many before in these past few seasons between these rivals, ended up going to overtime, where the Winnipeg Ice would end up being victorious. And they'd be down again in the finals against RHA Winnipeg, as they would end up defeating Westman in the other semifinal to set up Winnipeg Ice versus RHA final. RHA, like mentioned, went up, but the Ice would storm back to end up taking home the Female Sport School Challenge Championship in 2025. Congratulations to this group who pulls off spectacular feat being able to win this tournament. Credit to Ice Wave Media for this graphic. Beautiful work by them. Once again, this coming from the Winnipeg Ice's Instagram page is, Cassie Carvalho, Chloe Nicholas, and Claire Hudson, the goal scorers, a big time in that matchup. And in terms of the Winnipeg Avros, they ended up defeating the Westman Wildcats in the bronze medal game, winning 4-1. An overall great showing from teams in the MFHL in this tourney, as we see a bunch of MFHL players cracking the All-Star teams. The All-Star teams, I should say. Congratulations to Rio Pierre, Izzy Mann, Ivy Perkin, and Avros captain Evie West on being named tournament All-Stars. Mann and Pierre pictured there on the right-hand side of your screen. Those pictures taken by Ice Wave Media, of course. And in terms of the Winnipeg Ice, this is a squad that they're loaded once again. I think I made the point already this season, even though they've lost star power from last year's team and Stephanie Jacobs not being here anymore, and you look on their back end, the talent they lost there in terms of players like Brianne Compte and Caitlin Moffitt in the pipes and Laura Melissa. They've once again proven that it's a next girl up mentality. Girls have stepped up and filled in roles, have filled shoes of players that have aged out of this program pretty nicely for, of course, the players that have filled those shoes so far, most notably Izzy Mann, Cassie Carvalho in her second season stepping up and being a big-time producer. Then you look at some of the rookie talent that this team has brought in as well. When you look at Kay Cairns, who AP'd with them last season. Also looking at players like Gabby Robbins and Sophie Wozniacki on the forward end, who have played on a line together this season and have done a lot of damage. Pair that with, of course, the players that have been here last year that have had championship experience, that have stepped up to. Can't also forget about a rookie in goal, and Gina Plett, who's been fantastic this season. And pairing that with the ability that Bailey Grunwald has and the run that this team went on just recently in the Female World Sports School Challenge, the confidence that I'm sure that's going to give them, I think it's going to be massive. And for this Winnipeg Ice team, a team that hasn't lost a playoff game in over 2 years at this point. A team who is getting hot at the right time and continues to pile on, more and more confidence, most recently winning in that tournament, that annual tournament, the Female World Sports School Challenge in Winnipeg, close to the playoffs as well. A bit of a tune-up in terms of playing in crucial elimination style hockey. The Ice proving that, they're still a threat at this point in the year, and I don't think any team in the MFHL playoffs wants to face them, of course. Ice Wave Media has also hired someone new from Art Thompson Photography, or Art Thompson Photo, as we'll show you a video now from some of the highlights of the finals from the Winnipeg Ice's victory over the Rink Hockey Academy Winnipeg squad. One moment. Here we go. And there you have it. Fantastic work once again over there from the folks over at Ice Wave Media and Art Thompson Photo. Be sure to follow them both on Instagram. But just touching on the Ice one last time, didn't even mention her, but they also got Chloe Nicholas, a loaded squad, and having conversations with Eugene Kaminsky before. I believe we talked about it either at the end of last season or at the beginning of this season, but just the style this team plays with that has given teams in this league, the top teams and any team, troubles with this Winnipeg Ice team is they pass the puck around really well, and this is a team that's just going to pressure you all game long, and that's, I think, the biggest reason why they've been able to have so much success against the Eastman Selects, given the top-end talent that the Winnipeg Ice have, and that they have a similar game to Eastman in terms of how relentless they are on their pressure. That led to 3 straight wins for Winnipeg to win that season series 3-1. But as for the power rankings here in the MFHL, brought to you by McKenna Fasteners and Tools. Since the last time we've shown you these, I had the Ice at number 4. We've moved them up to number 3. The Chiefs not going to go anywhere further down than 4th. I think that spot for them is set in stone for this year's MFHL Power Rankings. And hey, there's a little Santa hat, a bit festive here. That's a mistake. Didn't mean to keep that in there. But as for... And I guess that also tells you how long it's been since we've shown you the Power Rankings here. But for the Eastman Selects and Winnipeg Avers, the Selects over the Avers because in their most recent game against each other, Eastman ended up defeating Winnipeg, and both of them have been pretty consistent in the win column since then. Top 2 teams clear cut in the standings, so they deserve to be 1 and 2. As for the Brandon Wheat Kings, they've been doing a lot more winning since 2025 has started. Recently, of course, winning back-to-back games over the Pembina Valley Hawks. They've had success against the Westman Wildcats and the teams below them. So for the Wheat Kings, they end up moving up 2 spots. For Pembina Valley, back-to-back losses this past weekend. This warrants them going down 2 spots. As for the Westman Wildcats, big win against Central Plains on Tuesday. This is a team that, sure, has struggled this season, but still had some wins down the line. I think their most recent win against Central Plains warrants them to move up a few spots in the power rankings is when we put that in. Having them in last time we showed these power rankings, they were on quite a long losing streak. Since then, they've been able to, of course, as mentioned, get a few wins. For Central Plains, things are a bit messy there right now. Of course, last place team, there's some drama behind the scenes, which I've been informed not to talk about, and out of respect for those involved, I won't. But yeah, things looking dire there in Central Plains right now at the worst time, with a big Plains series coming up for them. But these are our power rankings, which will have final power rankings coming up in next week's edition of the MFHL podcast. Also thinking we may be doing a playoff special, so that could be in the works. Coming up here, before playoffs start, of course, the play-in series between the Interlake Lightning and Central Plains Capitals will be starting next week, I believe. Be sure to check out the MFHL's website at MFHLU18AAA.com, as well as their socials. For the information on when the play-in series will be starting, we're going to be releasing our full playoff schedule coming up this Sunday, on Super Bowl Sunday, which I'm really excited about. But we're going to hit it with one last transition, then I'm going to return here to just give some quick thoughts on tonight's matchup in the MFHL that is going to be featured here on the network between the Eastman Selects and Winnipeg Abros, and then we're going to send you off on this Friday with some good vibes here on the MFHL podcast on G Show Productions on gshow.ca. Stick around, everybody. Well, you've made it to almost the end of the MFHL podcast. I just want to preview this Winnipeg Abros and Eastman Selects matchup coming up tonight. Of course, the battle for first place in the MFHL. Can't wait to be a part of it. And thank you to everyone that supported us this season, by the way. It's meant a lot to us. We can't wait to be broadcasting round one of the playoffs, the semifinals, as well as the finals this year. As for if we'll get the West Regionals broadcast series, well, let's just say we're trying to get that in the works right now, so we'll keep you up to date on all of that. But yeah, if we get it or not, that would be sweet if we do, of course. But of course, this is how the week started in the MFHL. These are the way, we'll show you this a bit longer, didn't even show you that for like 3 seconds, but yeah. Some big victories to start off this Week 15 action. Brandon, of course, huge back-to-back wins last weekend to propel them to 5th place in the standings. The playoffs were to start today. Last weekend was the end of the MFHL season, Brandon would be taking on the Yellowhead Chiefs in the first round of the playoffs. But that's really the only thing that hasn't been decided yet. Pembina Valley could very well jump over Brandon in the standings still. We'll have to wait and see how things unfold this weekend coming up. Westman, it's still an outside chance to move up in the standings, but things going to be tough for them to be able to do so if Brandon and Pembina Valley are able to get some wins in there. Those are the power rankings. These are the points leaders. So we're all over the place here. Yes, this is the schedule, showing you it one last time for this upcoming weekend in the MFHL. For the Winnipeg Abros, they have, looking at it, tough opponents all around in their 3 games. I don't think Pembina Valley is going to be an easy opponent whatsoever for Winnipeg. For Eastman, they're going to be playing in only 2 games this weekend with 2 tough opponents for themselves. Of course, tonight against the Abros and on Sunday against the Yellowhead Chiefs. But as for tonight's matchup against the Winnipeg Abros, both these teams have played each other before this season. They played in close games, 2 games that have gone the distance, once to shootout, once to overtime, which favored the Abros, once Eastman in the other. Taking a look at just the last time these 2 teams faced off against each other. Ended up being, just to confirm it, Friday, January 10th, where Eastman ended up winning 4-2, a big third period for them to propel them in that victory. against the Winnipeg Abros, where Eastman opened things up in the shot category, leading at 47-28 in the most recent victory. Both these teams, when taking a look at the standings, are two of the best defensive teams in the league. The Winnipeg Abros hold an advantage in terms of having the best offense in the league. And compared to the Winnipeg Abros, sure, the Eastman Selects don't have the same top-end talent per se in terms of the player equal to Rio Pierre. I don't think any team in the league does, really. Maybe the closest player being Ivy Perkin, maybe, but still, Rio kind of been in a class of her own this season. But if there's any team I think that could find ways to stifle this Abros team, it can be the Eastman Selects, as we saw in the most recent matchup. In the game before that, winning it 1-0 in overtime. I think that if the Eastman Selects are able to transition out of their zone with some ease here tonight and get to their forecheck, I think that it's going to for sure cause a lot of struggles for this Abros team. I think for this Abros team, they need to find a way to come out of the gate early, put this Eastman Selects team down early, and make them chase the game as early as possible, because the more pressure I feel like you put on a team like the Eastman Selects, the more you can frustrate them, like we've seen the Winnipeg Ice be able to do when they got off to the first lead of the game. If Winnipeg is able to get those big saves, they're able to survive that Eastman pressure and put some good pressure on them if their stars come out to play in this one tonight, and that depth comes through for the Winnipeg Abros. I think that they have a good shot to come away with this one in Niverville tonight. As coverage is going to get started at 8 p.m. Central Time for the puck drop. Coverage actually getting going a bit before that, as we will have our pregame show for you, where we'll have the keys to the game and preview and the upcoming matchup, some more in-depth coming up tonight on the network. This is going to do it for the MFHL podcast for episode 17, season 2. I've been your host, Graham, the G Show Forsyth. Special thanks to Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools, Terraco Goaltenders, and Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia for sponsoring another edition of this show. Special thanks to Kelsey McHolm, head coach of the Interlake Lightning and third-year forward of the Westman Wildcats, grade 11 forward, in Reese Schutte, for coming on as the guest. And thank you to you, the viewer, for tuning into this one. Be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and leave a like if you did enjoy this one. If you don't end up doing any of those things, that's fine too. Your viewership counts as well, as much in our hearts, to be honest with you. But yeah, if you do end up sharing this episode out, subscribing and turn on notifications and liking it, will help this episode get seen more. And if you subscribe, turn on notifications, it helps you stay up to date with when more MFHL content comes out. We got a triple header of MFHL game day coverage this weekend coming up, starting tonight, going all the way through tomorrow until Super Bowl Sunday in the afternoon, ending off our regular season's coverage in Niverville. We're going to have the MFHL Podcast, episode 18, season 2, coming out next Friday. Stay up to date on our website as well as on our socials, as we'll have the official start time and guest list for that episode a few days or a day, maybe even the day of, before the episode comes out for you. And like I said, we're probably going to do an MFHL playoff special as well for you all. So lots to look forward to here, as it's the best time of the year in hockey, playoff time. And first we got, the final season weekend of the regular season coming up here in the MFHL, and we can't wait to be a part of it here on your home for MFHL hockey on G Show Productions. Until next time, everybody, I've been your host, Graham, the G Show Forsyth, giving you the salute, peacing out, and waving so long, everybody. Until next Friday, have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Enjoy all the great hockey coming your way, MFHL fans, and we'll see you in 7 days from now. Take care.